I would like to call this meeting to order. This is Independent School District 832. It is a regular meeting for the Mahtomedi School Board. It's Monday, July 14th, 2025, 7:00 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Uh-oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call of attendance. Done. Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Director Peterson.
Second.
Seconded by Director Doman. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Director Regan.
Second.
Seconded by Director Whitson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, discussion items, board member calendar. Does anyone have anything they'd like to call out? Yes, Director Peterson.
After most of the summer off, Tuesday, August 5th at 9:00 is the Zoom for the MSBA Coffee and Conversations, and it could be a juicy one. So I'm looking forward to it. Stacy and I are representing, what should I say? We are in the puzzle competition tomorrow night. So
Go community ed.
yep, if you want to watch us put together a puzzle,
Come cheer us
that's what we'll
on.
be doing.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? We could be a group cheering.
Stacy, we haven't discussed uniforms yet.
Oh, we need to do that. Okay.
And then if you are in town on Sunday morning, July 27th, and live anywhere near Park Avenue, 32 Little Mahtomedi Zephyrs will be competing in the 6th annual Mahtomedi Triathlon.
Oh,
Cool. How far is the triathlon?
Depends how old you are.
Oh.
There's 2. I can let you know. Okay.
Just curious.
No, yeah. I'll send them to you.
okay, impressive. Anything else to point out from the calendar? Okay. Action items. We will start with approval of donations and grants for June 2025 totaling $184,891.62. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Director Donna, second by Director Regan. Any discussion? All donations and grants are greatly appreciated. The use of these funds will be to further the mission of the school district and are used towards the wishes of the donor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Approval of the 2025-2026 resolution for membership in the Minnesota State High School League.
This is an annual resolution in order for us to be able to, for our students to be able to participate in Minnesota State High School League events. This is, the school board is required to pass this resolution. It does need to be done by the end of July every year. I don't know if it's July 31st. I have the end of July in my head. And so this is our final meeting in order to be able to approve this resolution.
Okay. I do want to point out last year we had pulled it off the consent agenda and we had put it on our regular agenda because we wanted a meeting with MSBA. I think there were 3 of us. I think it was Director Doman, Director Donna, and myself. I would like to do that again. I think we've struggled a bit with transparency from the Minnesota State High School League. So I'd like to really try to keep up communications. And I don't think we came away with all the answers we wanted after that conversation, but I think we should keep trying. Good. Anyone have questions for Barb?
I guess one question I have is, what happens if we don't take action today?
Well, again, we have, in order to, for our students to participate, we do have to take action by the end of July. So if we wanted to you didn't want to take action tonight, we would have to schedule a special meeting in order to have this vote later. Or our students wouldn't have the opportunity to participate in state high school league.
Which involves all the competitions and.
Sports and activities. Mhm. Yep.
So maybe another quick follow-up question that you, I'm guessing, don't have the answer to, but I'll ask anyway. Obviously, there's some discrepancies between Minnesota state law and federal law or federal guidance at this point. And it's being pushed to the Supreme Court. What happens if federal law is different than state law, and that happens kind of mid-membership? How do we address that?
Well, I think at that point, then it would be up to the state high school league to update any kind of, if there is anything that needed to change, it would be up to them to change that. And then perhaps there would be another vote. I'm not actually sure how that would be. It's not the first time that state and federal law doesn't align when various things, this happens. And so we've had to navigate it before, but it's been under advice of counsel. So as a school board, I wouldn't recommend that we navigate that here. It would be, something that our attorneys would help us with. But that's what the state, if law changes, if federal and state come into alignment in some way that is different than what it is now, then the state high school league would need to navigate that with their attorneys.
Yeah, it's my understanding the courts will rule because it's the Equal Protection Clause, it's Title IX, all of those things are what are at part of the discussion. So I think we'll see something come out next year. I guess my question is, are we at risk of losing any federal funding as a district? I think we've heard that statewide if there were things, but I don't know that as a district we lose any.
I wouldn't, no.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Director.
Sorry to keep talking. I just want to make sure everybody else has an opportunity to speak. I did just prepare a couple of comments that maybe I can just read real quick, if that's okay. So kind of as the board's liaison to the Minnesota State High School League, I'd like to say that I support renewing our membership with the Minnesota State High School League because the MSHSL provides essential access to competitive athletics and activities that enrich the lives of Mahtomedi students. But that being said, I think it's important to express concern over the league's current policy guided by state law that allows biological male athletes to compete in girls' sports. While I respect all students and support inclusive environments, this policy raises serious issues of fairness, safety, and legal conflict. Specifically, Title IX was established to protect equal opportunity for girls, and allowing biological male athletes to compete alongside our girls undermines the competitive integrity Title IX was designed to guarantee. In certain sports, it also introduces increased risk of physical injury. Furthermore, Title IX guidance currently under legal challenge conflicts with Minnesota's position. Until this is resolved at the Supreme Court level, school districts like Mahtomedi are left exposed to potential legal liability and community division. I believe we can support our students without sacrificing fairness and safety for girls. I urge the league to reconsider its approach, the state of Minnesota, and our elected state officials to actually lead and stop playing politics. In our district and our community to stay engaged in advocating for a better path forward. Also, I'd urge the community to reach out to myself or any other members of the school board if there's any concerns around safety and those sorts of things. Thanks.
Any other
Thank you.
comments? I do want to reiterate that we, as Barb said, we find ourselves in situations as being on a school board. I do want to say that I fully support going ahead with voting to remain a member of MSHSL. I do want all of our Zephyrs to know that this board, obviously, we put them first. And so if any issues were to arise, I think that's when we would need to address it as a board and really want students to know that we're not going into this lightly. This is the best thing for all our students at this point. Director Regan.
I just would like to comment on what you read. And so I guess my feeling on that is that I want all of our Zephyrs to be able to participate in the activities and athletics that they want to. Obviously, we want everybody to be safe. But my lens that I'm coming from is to make sure that we have a place for all of our students to be able to play and participate. So I think this could potentially be something that, you know, as a Minnesota State High School League, that is going to end up at the local level, at the school board level, for us to think, you know, what does that look like? But that's my only concern of the statement that you read, is that I worry about someone being left out and then not having anywhere to participate.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Director Donna.
so you began your opening remarks were to have the State High School League come back before we consider this?
No, I was just saying, I want to continue having conversations with them like we did. I'm not recommending, because we'd have to have a special meeting if we want our kids to be able to start playing in competitions starting in August. So that's not my recommendation. I'm not saying somebody else feels differently. I don't want to dissuade anybody.
I just think we're in between a rock and a hard place here. I can't believe that this Minnesota State High School League is not out in front of this issue and providing guidance to their districts they don't exist without our membership. And as far as I'm concerned, they're tone deaf to this issue if they're not out in front of it, speaking to these districts. And we've got until the end of July to renew our membership.
And there's not an alternative for our students to play in other competitions in the same way.
Yeah, I understand that.
Can you repeat what you just said? Sorry, good.
There's not an alternative. So it's almost like you have to go along with whatever the high school league says, which is why I want to continue conversations, because it's never been clear to us exactly how they've come to all of the decisions that we've had history here with our district in terms of student disciplinary actions and that sort of thing. So I think we've had this history of really pushing for more transparency with them. And the challenge is there's not another option for our students. And we want our students to be in these competitions. It's part of their experience here.
Has anyone considered wanting to serve as part of a regional committee as a board representative to a regional committee? I think, one of the things the State High School League, what we heard in that meeting that we participated in last year, is that they do have ways for us to be more involved, and that's through their committee membership at the regional level. And so I'll just offer that if that's something that our school board or our district wants to be more involved in, that might be an opportunity. And I could certainly look. I don't know when membership changes, but I'd be happy to look into that so that we'd have more contact.
Yes.
The State High School League.
I'd be supportive of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, and again, I'm not sure where people stand on voting tonight, but I personally feel like as of tonight, we know where things stand, and we don't have, all of our Zephyrs right now are in the sports that they want to be in. If we were to come into a situation, I think then we would really have to address it at that point. I think, there are a number of concerns, and it's uncharted territory, and we want our girls to have their experiences and that were given to them and guaranteed to them by Title IX. And as Kelly said, we do want all of our students to have, to be able to pursue their pathways. We just have to balance out at what cost to all the the entire student body and what does that look like? I don't think we have anything in our district right now that we are having to address that for our students, but I think we probably all feel strongly that if that were to become the situation, we would address it at that point.
Well, but I do think, and if I can add on to that, that I do think that some of our sports teams, like I do recall, I think even this last season, the hockey team, which is the co-op between us and Roseville, that they played a team with a transgender athlete, and that was, you know, brought up as far as controversial and things like that. And so there are some definite, you know, our students are playing students. Maybe we don't have a transgender that's identifying as trans who's playing in one of our sports or activities or whatever that might be, and maybe we do. But I do think that it is part of our Zephyrs experience, and participating with other athletes, and also how they handle themselves as well too, and what can we do to be, I don't know, I think that it's better to be proactive rather than reactive. And so I don't know what that is exactly, like you said, I think it's uncharted territory. It causes a little bit of like a sting to me in the fact that I'm not a trans person. I'm not someone who can identify with how someone is feeling, but my gut reaction always goes to making sure that that person is not denied an opportunity, just like someone who is born biologically male or female.
But we also have to make sure our biological girls are not getting defeated at every turn because of a safety issue or a strength issue.
Right. I think you're right on everything that's been said at the table. We're in a really tough spot, and then we have to figure out what that looks like, and that's my only concern. So I see it from both sides. I said, right, when Ryan stated that I understand the safety concerns and things like that. I totally get that. And I also can see the other side of it, of affording the opportunity as well. So I don't know what that looks like. And we're not getting much guidance from Minnesota
No.
State High School.
And that's why I think having a conversation with them would be great, because I'd like to know have they had these discussions? How much research have they done in terms of safety and opportunities and that sort of thing? We've received nothing from them. And yet it's the only avenue for our students. So I just think it's good for us to know going in with our eyes wide open. Yes, Director John.
Does anyone else, before I ask another follow-up? I just lost my train of thought. I had two items. One is, I understand that we have a deadline of 31st. I understand we don't have another option. But what leverage do we have in forcing a conversation with them if we move forward tonight? Frankly, I don't think we have any leverage. I've never felt as if that organization does not value their clients. And so I think they'll just push it off until they have to. I don't think we'll get an audience with them. That's just my personal feeling there. And secondly, what's our practice if we have an athlete or someone in an activity that doesn't feel safe or doesn't want to participate? What are their options today? Given the example with the hockey game, what if a couple of the hockey players didn't feel safe going forward on that game day? What are their options?
Yeah, I guess I didn't know I was going to be asked, so I wasn't prepared to answer that question. I don't know. We haven't run into students communicating to us that they don't feel safe to play against another team. We haven't had that.
And I think that's a good question too for us to ask MSHSL. Any other discussion? Or questions for Barb? So now we have somebody needs to make a motion. Sounds like Paul maybe wants to go a different route. I just need someone to,
I'll make the motion to approve renewal.
uh, move by Director Doman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Whitson. Any further discussion? Yes, Director Donna.
There's one of the points brought up tonight was related to what exposure do we have legally, if any? Do we have an answer to that or not?
By participating in the state high school league?
Correct. Has there been a lawsuit filed against the state high school league?
Yes,
Mhm.
it's active.
Okay, so there's an active lawsuit against an organization that we are a part of. What's our exposure financially? What's our exposure? Do we know that? I don't know that.
Well, we're not the only district that is part of the state high school league, obviously. So I would be surprised that we would personally have exposure. But I would be happy to follow up on that.
Paul, it's currently against them and 3 high schools. 3 high schools are named in the suit
Okay.
with the Minnesota State High School League.
Okay, so we have a motion. on
So
the
I guess then I have a question then, Paul, if barring that response or that question being unknown, is that something that you would require guidance on prior to feeling confident in the vote?
That's what I'm struggling with right now.
Okay, I guess I'll start.
Yes, Director Peterson.
A lot of chatter, other school districts and school boards have, when approving this policy at their July meeting, or else so they were prepared with caveats or side ways to hypothetical situations in their school district to say, yes, we will join MSHLS. However, we will protect girls, students, boys. So I guess maybe we should have talked about this before tonight.
Well, I mean, we're having the
Yeah.
discussion now.
Oh, yeah, this is good.
I do think that, I think Paul's question is a unique one, and I'm trying to think of if I have anything to compare it to. So he's basically saying because we are a member of MSHSL, who was the subject of a lawsuit, is there anything as a member that we're responsible for? I'm just not familiar enough with that to know. So I think that's a good question. I think what you're saying, Director Peterson, is that if there were situations that arise, what do we then address something specifically? If there's an issue of
It was
safety or-
issuing we support a forfeit or we support an asterisk. I mean, just other school districts had some comments prepared as almost like bullet points to approving this resolution.
So my 2 cents, there hasn't been a conversation with the students about this or, so I don't know. So if you were going to put caveats or ways that you would like to see things happen, I'll just suggest that you might want to include the students in that conversation.
I do think too, we can point to the fact that when we've been a member of MSHSL and we've had issues where we really went to bat for a student. And I don't see this any different. We all of our Zephyrs, we would take up the issue of whatever comes before us and do what's right for our Zephyrs. So I don't see that as changing anything that we've been able to do from the past. Any other discussion? Okay, so Director Donna, I think we're gonna move forward with the vote. Do you want to make any other comments or motions?
I'd like. I don't like special meetings any more than anyone else does, but I'd really like some more clarity on particularly the exposure issue, and preferably I'd like some guidance with respect to some of the points that were raised tonight on where the state high school league is at.
There is, I'm going to speculate here a little bit, but there is the possibility that given the lawsuit, they would not be able to give us that information while they're actively in a lawsuit. In my experience, when lawsuit,
Yeah,
there's the possibility.
I appreciate
you
that.
wouldn't get what you needed.
They can talk in hypotheticals perhaps,
Mhm.
but
Okay. So if there's no motion to table this, then we're going to move forward with our vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed,
no.
Nay.
motion carries. Do we need to do a roll call vote? Yes, roll call vote, please.
Director Doman,
Aye.
Director Peterson,
Nay.
Madam Chair Stout,
Aye.
Director Donna,
No.
Director Regan, aye. Director Whitson.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4-2. Okay, thank you all. We will still follow up on that. Okay, next is approval of the final reading of policies.
Yes, so this is our final reading. I have not received any questions or feedback since our last reading. And so I am recommending approval of these policies. These were reviewed initially by the policy committee and then brought forward twice before this final reading.
Any discussion or any questions for superintendent? Hey, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Director Donna,
Second.
seconded by Director Doman. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. And now we will need to go into closed session. So for all of you who have joined us, we will not be doing any other business when we come back to open session. So I need to get a motion for to go into closed session in accordance with Minnesota statute 13D.03.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Director Rican, seconded by Director Donna. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed, motion carries. So we will now go into closed session for discussion of labor negotiation strategies.